time. That means a lot to our whole team. So thank you all for being here. My name is Jonathan Chambers, and I work with the Cherokee Office of Economic Development. And our amazing team is all here, minus Misty, our fearless leader. She's in California, right?
Correct.
Yes.
On business.
On business. It's okay. It was personal, but it is business. So we do economic development focused on the entire county of Cherokee. So everything from product development to things that are in our Cherokee 75 corporate park on 92, like Adidas and Alpha, Woodstock Furniture Outlets, Distribution Center, Yanmar, MSK, and several others, Jacob Living, to growing existing companies and businesses that are here in, wow, I almost said Statesboro. Okay. We start over. To entrepreneurship, to film and media, as well as talent development and workforce. So we focus on everything that involves the future of our county as far as jobs and economic development. And that's where this story, you've probably heard this over the last 6 months or more, but this is our new strategy and our story. It's called Cherokee by Choice, and it's our initiative focused on finding out the stories in our community as to why people have made Cherokee their choice. Most of us are here intentionally. 78% of us still commute out of the county for their work, which is a little discouraging. And so a big part of our office is to try to change that narrative and change those numbers, convince people to work in the community, to not just live and play here, but also work here as well. And so if you have a story to tell, we want to hear it. We really do. And we want our audience and our community to hear your story as well. So if you haven't done this already, I would encourage you to go on to Facebook, go on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Google+, whatever your favorite social media platform is. Use the hashtag Cherokee by Choice and tell us your Cherokee by Choice story, especially for those of us who've been here a long time. So we would love to hear it. And so out of that, a big part of our entrepreneurship initiatives is our Fresh Start Cherokee program, which is our programming brand designed to build programs just like the lunch circuit, to create resources for entrepreneurs, to create a community, to give them space like the circuit to work in, and to really help them get over the hurdles that they might have from starting or growing their business. So examples of that, of course, are this program here, the lunch circuit. This is our passion, is to wave the banner of entrepreneurship across the entire county with stories, with gathering people together around food. We do that once a month with a new entrepreneur. 1 Million Cups is another example of that program. We meet twice a month here at the circuit. Then we hit the road, we have free coffee, we bring people together. We hear from a new entrepreneur, stands on stage and presents their company and asks for help with their challenges from the community. And then an example of another one is Creative Problem Solvers. This is a group we've been doing for almost 2 years now. It's kind of a brain trust of local entrepreneurs that get together in a room and they're not satisfied with just networking. They want to talk about what keeps them up at night, what makes them get up in the morning, what are the challenges they have, and how do they help each other. So it's really more wrapped around the entrepreneurs themselves and less about the problems they're trying to solve. And so it's been a pretty fascinating group. And then, of course, for those of you who might know, I was talking with Brian and JR a little earlier, but some of these guys played basketball here years ago. And so long before Chat Tech renovated this campus and partnered with us. First and second grade? Wow. 10 years ago. That's fascinating. But it's great hearing those kind of stories. We appreciate that because it makes us proud of the history that happened in this building and then seeing the difference in what it is today. So this is the circuit. It's a place for entrepreneurs to work, to have an office, a desk. It's a place for students of Chat Tech to gather and study, and it's a place for people to come in and just convene and collaborate. And we're excited about our coffee shop. Should be ready in about 4 weeks, so stay tuned for that. Yes, thank you, Dan. I expect to see you at the first one in line. Probably, all right. So just some examples of the people that work in our community, from app developers to service providers to accountants, people who have retail products, folks who are just working remote instead of working from home or a coffee shop, as well as filmmakers, storytellers. They kind of run the whole gamut of industries. Those people work out of the space several days a week or come here a couple times a month to be a part of the community. And of course, we couldn't do any of this in this space or in these programs without our partners in the circuit. Our office, the Economic Development Officer at Woodstock, and of course Chat Tech being a big part of that. Special thanks to the Woodstock to the In Woodstock brand, and Dan's here this morning if you guys have more questions about what that brand is. It's a community of professionals, business owners, innovators from around the Woodstock area, and it's an impressive gathering of people. Who else is here? David, thank you. David Potts. So if you guys have questions about that, there's programs, there's events. We partner with them on different things as well. So in Woodstock, we appreciate you guys. And then real quick, especially for those of you who are new, kind of why we do the lunch circuit, it's 3 reasons. We love stories, and I think most of us do. Stories impact us. We can relate to them. They create empathy. They inspire us. So we love hearing people's stories. We love gathering around the table intentionally to create community. I think if we were to do this all online, simulcast, it'd be a very different culture than if we came together in one room. That's why we get together. And then, of course, just the focus on entrepreneurship. We think that entrepreneurship is a powerful catalyst for economic development in our area. I've heard some people call it economic gardening because it's economic development at the grassroots level, right? It's literally planting seeds and watering and fertilizing and cultivating the ground and coming together as a community to see if this thing will grow. So we are passionate about entrepreneurship. And because we like being tech savvy, for those of you who have a smartphone, we've started to do this the last couple months, but if you are a shy person and you don't want to ask questions at the end of JR or Brian, you can go to slido.com right now and enter in the hashtag lunch circuit and submit a question throughout the time that I'm talking to them as well as to the very end. So please feel free to do that if you want to, and I'll pick from some of those questions toward the end. So for our introverts in the room or for those who are really snarky, David Potts, you can enter questions through that. Sorry. I'm just saying, there's always one in the room, so. It's kind of a dangerous invitation because we've gotten some really interesting questions, but I won't get into that. So I want to tell you real quick about JR and Brian and Woodstock Furniture Outlet, and then invite them up. We'll do about 30 minutes of Q&A, and then we'll let you guys ask some questions at the end. So Woodstock Furniture Outlet started with an idea in 1988, 31 years ago. That's very exciting. It started with an idea to sell good used furniture at affordable prices, and they've kept that vision for 30 plus years. They have grown to about 200 staff, I believe. 7 locations. I didn't even know this until recently. 3 locations of their furniture and mattress outlets in Woodstock, Ackworth, Dallas, Hiram, and Rome. And then an additional 4 locations of their mattress outlet, which started in Canton in 2011 and has expanded into Kennesaw, Douglasville, and the Buckhead area of Atlanta. So it's truly impressive that you guys have expanded this brand and you've stayed focused on customers as your number 1 priority for so many years. And so we want to invite you guys up now, and if you guys would give a hand to JR and Brian. Got water there, if y'all wouldn't mind sharing that mic. Sure. So I want to kick it off, JR and Brian, with a few fun questions to kind of break the ice here. If I could. Okay. It's kind of hard to get up here, isn't it? We're good. All right. This picture at the bottom would have been the groundbreaking a year ago. Is that right?
August 17th.
August. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
And then these would be some pictures of some of their furniture inside their main location in Woodstock as well. Just a beautiful line of furniture from Ashley to Magnolia to a bunch of high quality brands. And then, of course, sweet pictures of their family. Just wanted to keep that up as well. So, because I know family is a big part of y'all's business, but I want to kick it off with a couple of interesting questions before we jump into some story. I think it is. Let's make sure it's on. Sorry about that. Check 1, 2, test. Is that there we go?
Yeah.
All right. I would like for y'all to sum up your personality in 1 word. And these are just shoot from the hip. That means you're not supposed to think about it too long.
Want me to start?
Friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1 word.
1 word.
Well, I did.
Oh, Yeah, I forgot. I didn't hear that part.
You didn't hear it?
Well, it's hard. I'm all over the board.
I mean, that works. 3 works.
He's all over the board.
All over
Alright.
the
Unfriendly?
well, sometimes.
What is the only way to drink coffee?
Black.
Black.
All right, this is gonna be too easy. This is getting a little personal here, so let's. I don't know about
Over
that.
here, Mom.
All right, what mattress brand do you prefer to sleep on?
Tempur-Pedic.
These are not official endorsements, are they? No. Okay.
Tempur-Pedic. But that is an official endorsement.
All right. How do you start the day? How do y'all start your day each day?
I usually start on the treadmill for about 20 minutes in the morning, and I read, do my scripture reading for about the first 12 minutes, and then I'll try to run the last 7 or 8 and then cool down.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, I'm up at 4:55 and do a little scripture, and then I'm at LA Fitness at 6 at Woodstock for Town Lake. So Monday through Friday.
4:55 a.m.
I'm there at 6. I start my day early. We both start early.
Yeah.
So
All right. Favorite type of music?
It's, I guess it'd be gospel.
I like all of it.
All over the board, right?
All over the board.
Yeah. Do y'all have a favorite Southern comfort food?
Gosh, I should. Pinto beans. Cornbread, right?
Cornbread. Right.
You said country food?
Southern comfort food or favorite
Oh, yeah.
food?
Catfish. Yeah, fried catfish.
Fried catfish.
There you go. I like it. With cornbread and pinto beans
Yeah.
on the side.
Well, buttermilk.
Buttermilk and cornbread is
I
good.
like it.
That's good.
We're getting very specific here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The whole thing.
this is making roly-poly not sound good. I wonder if, since we're talking about food here for a second, if you would settle a debate that we had a few minutes ago with some of our team.
Do
All right.
what again?
We had a debate a few minutes ago with several of our team members about whether Waffle House or Huddle House is better.
What?
Waffle House.
Waffle House.
Waffle
All right.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the other than
No.
years.
Okay. All right. What do you do for fun?
We try to RV some, not as much as we'd like, but I think we enjoy that about as much as anything. Well, yeah, we got a 5-year-old grandson who thinks he lives in Disney, so we have to go down there every 3 months to get him a fix.
I like to run a lot, and then we RV a lot with them and without them when I can get off of work.
All right, just last couple here, and then we'll jump into a little bit more story. The most dangerous thing you've ever done.
Most dangerous thing. Ooh. I'm not sure. He's probably driving.
Well, then mine will be easy riding with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What car are you driving in so I can try Yeah, right. Remember to never RV with your family here.
It's 45 foot.
Yes.
His RV is.
Oh, really?
So you ought to ride with him in that.
Do y'all have a favorite slang saying?
There's no reason not to buy today.
There it is.
How do we do it?
Yeah.
How do we do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Mark it down.
Yeah.
Mark it down.
Well, I appreciate y'all hearing us with some of those questions, kind of jump into it. So I want to learn a little bit more about y'all's family and where you grew up and what life was like, just to kick it off.
Okay, I guess it's some 70 years ago I started school here, I guess, and I'm probably one of the only few people left around. Maybe there's a few that's been downtown Woodstock in a mule and wagon. I remember when I was a kid, we'd bring a bale of cotton over here in a mule and wagon. I think the gym was just over the hill out yonder in the hollow before you get to Dixie Inn, I think. But anyway, we lived out on, at the time, Ragsdale Road and Trickham, I think. We had to move every time the rent came due, so we, we moved around a lot. But anyway, after I finished the second grade here, we moved to Shalford Road, and I started at Blackwell Elementary. And we managed to stay there until I got through Blackwell and went to Sprayberry and stayed at Sprayberry until my senior year, and then we moved to Ackworth. So I actually finished at Norcott. But I was never a senior anywhere. I failed so many classes. I had to go to summer school and finally got through. I don't even know how I did, but I did manage to get out. So immediately after, I'll back up a minute. I guess it was my junior year in 1960, her brother came by us down on Hicks Road there towards Mapleton, picking apples in an orchard down there, I think. Was making 15 cents a bushel, or that's what they were paying, and I wasn't a real good picker, but her brother drove up one afternoon, so let's go join the Navy. Well, I didn't know what the Navy was, but I figured it'd be picking apples, so I threw my sack down and jumped in the car. And we went to join the Naval Reserve, which this is in 60, is a 6-year obligation, 2 years active, and so on.
Did they pay more than 15 cents?
Well, very little, but I'll get to that. But anyway, right after high school, we left and went to Jacksonville. We had 2 years of active duty, and we ended up on a carrier there out of Mayport, the Shangri-La. We ran up down the East Coast for a year and a half or so, and went to New York for 6 months and dry dock. But I got out of the Navy in 63, and she'd been chasing me for 2 or 3 years, wanting to get married soon, so I managed to put her off till sometime in 64. But in the interim, I got a job at Sears down on Costellina. Some of y'all may have heard of it or been there, I don't know. But anyway, I think in the Navy I made $78 a month when I got out. So I wasn't making a whole lot. So it wasn't a whole lot better than picking apples probably, but Sears wasn't paying much better, and I think it's $59 a week, wasn't it? I started down there, and never made a whole lot more than that, but back then they'd give us 2.5-cent raises. Any of y'all ever had a 2.5-cent raise? They give 2.5-cent raises. So one of the guys said he got one of them 2.5-cent raises, and his boss says, "Now, don't you tell nobody about this." And he said, "You don't have to worry. I'm just as damn ashamed of it as you are." That was the kind of deal. But anyway, I stayed there 23 years, and we got married in 64. This is my wife over here, and then we started having little ones. And he was the second. He was number 2, Brian. And I guess Darlene was born in 65, and he's 68, and Angie was 71. So then we lived in Marietta at that time. So we decided that the house we were in was 800 square feet or something. I don't know. It wasn't big. But the guy we rented it from initially decided to sell it to us. So in the interim, we bought that house for $8,000, and we sold it 4 or 5 years later for 12 or 13, and moved to Cherokee Estates up here in 71. I think we paid $22,900 for that house. It was a big house, 1,400 feet, right? We thought it was a big house. But anyway,
I love how you're helping with the details. It's good.
Yeah, she's trying to help me out here. But anyway, the kids grew up here at Woodstock, went to all the local, what was it, Chapman and Booth and Etowah High Schools. They all graduated from Etowah. And so in long story short, in 87, Sears was shutting down our department, so I left. And a year later decided I had been selling some of the catalog returns to other dealers over the years. you know, the returns to other people that was in business. And after being off about a year, my old boss, he called me and said, why don't I start buying some and open something up? So I decided to do that down here on Old Highway 5. We're, what's it close to? It's about a half a mile south of with the 92 intersection on the right. Now, it's about all. So we stayed there a year and a half. We opened up junk, selling anything we could buy. And a lot of it we shouldn't have, but we did. And anyway, then we moved over, I believe it was 1990, over to Bell's Ferry at 92 there in the old Big Star. And we had 25,000 feet there, and Brian, he had to buy a load of one-arm sofas to help fill it up, because we didn't have nothing much to go in it, you know, but he had got hooked up with this guy in Spartanburg and started buying one-arm sofas. And it worked out pretty good, I think. We didn't know if it'd sell or not, but it turned out that people would buy a one-arm sofa.
Yeah.
So, you know, cheap enough.
Yeah.
But in the last 2 or 3 years, we bought and sold how many one-arm recliners or no arm? Bunch.
I'm having trouble envisioning a one-arm sofa. Does this just get pushed up against the wall?
Well,
put a table
you put a table on the other end or something. There's a lot of ways. But when they're $50 a piece or whatever, you find a way along. You know. So. Anyway, we actually didn't get into total home furnishings until '94. We were still piddling. We had a fire in '92 up there. Still don't know how it started. But after the fire, we just never did find our niche again. It was kind of, we were doing great before the fire came, but after that, it was a struggle. We just wasn't doing too good, and so we'd changed a couple of times. We had a few pieces of furniture, and I'd get mad if something being returned or something. I'd say, let's sell it all off. Let's just put in clothes or whatever we can find. And we'd do that for a year, and then we'd go back to furniture. But anyway, this last time we closed up for 2 weeks, or sold everything off, closed up for a couple of weeks, and then reopened in the home furnishing business. And as it's turned out, it's been the best thing we ever done. It's been good to us. We've been blessed. We've had some tough times. It's never easy business. It's always a struggle. You start every day unemployed. You know, you ain't selling nothing to ring in the cash register. It don't matter about anything else. It don't matter how pretty it is or how good it is. If you don't ring the register, you won't be there long. So we never had any cash. We've had inventory, but usually our cash would be pretty low. So Harold Westbrook, anybody know Harold Westbrook? Used to be Stacy's Wholesale up in Canton. He helped us a lot getting started. He sold us a lot back then he was in the wholesale business, and he sold us quite a few things that we did well on. But he always told us, he said, you could be out of one or the other, but you couldn't be out of both. You know, if you run out of inventory and you're out of money, you're out of business. Yeah. But as long as you got one or the other, you can kind of hang on. So consequently, over the years, all the cash that we've ever had was tied up in inventory. You know, pretty much. We never have figured out exactly how much to buy to free up cash. We always buy stuff we don't need with money we don't have. You know, we've done that all our lives. So consequently, the bank really owns the store. We just work there, you know, to tell you the truth. But anyway, I don't know. It's been a good ride. We've had a lot of funny situations. We had a lady a few years ago that bought a red leather sofa. A couple of years later, she called complaining because it dyed her little poodle red. There's a white poodle that dyed her dog red, pink or something. And she came in, and I told her she should have got a sofa the same color of her dog or whatever. Anyway, I don't know what we did with her, but we probably swapped it out. I don't know, the dog or the sofa one, I don't know which. Anyway, and then we had a guy about, a month ago, he was had a sofa, it had 5 years, wasn't it, or 4? Started building?
6 years.
6 years, had it
Yeah,
that
6
long?
years.
And he called complaining that somebody sold it to him and told him it was leather and it was bonded or whatever it was, wasn't supposed to peel. So I think, what did he end up offering him for that? Give him a credit for trading it in, and I forgot what it was. But anyway, at first he wasn't real happy about it, he was complaining, but I told him the smartest thing he ever done was buy it from us. Because if he bought it from anybody else, they wouldn't give him nothing. You know, really, that's the truth. So we finally, when he come in, I think it kind of finally sunk in, and he was okay. You know, he realized that, you know, he was lucky to get anything for a 6-year-old sofa. Yeah.
Did you give him a pink poodle?
Well, it would have. But anyway, folks, I don't know. We don't take a lot of credit for being where we are. To God be the glory. So I'm just glad to be here. I can't sit and tell you anything that I did or whatever that would have made us what some people call successful. So we've been told that being successful is not how much money you got, it's how much you owe. So we're very successful.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the way we define it.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that story. I want to ask a couple follow-up questions too, because we interact with a lot of entrepreneurs at programs and as well as in the circuit space here. You talk about how you define success. How would y'all define what an entrepreneur is? A lot of people have ideas. What do you think it is that makes a person an entrepreneur?
I think you got to be a server, and you got to serve the people, basically. And I think one of the biggest things, you got to do what you say you'll do. You know, you got to be there when you say you'll be there. You got to do what you say you'll do.
I mean, we always got to answer the question, why would anybody come to our stores? Because you can buy everything we got somewhere else for the most part, so we're always fine. Why would you come here? And what, you know, he summed it up the other day in a meeting with some folks about what do we think we're good at, and he said we're good at saying yes to the customer. And you can't say yes to everything. I mean, you can't offer me $5 for that and I got 200 in it, but you got to say, like he says, say yes. You say no, but they think you said yes because of the way you can actually say it. But
You have to
but we're
spend
all,
sometimes.
I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to figure out, why would anybody do business with me? Why do I think I got something somebody's going to want and that we can make a profit and stay in business? And all of us that got businesses, our number one assets are people. It's not the inventory, it's not real estate.
So does good furniture sell itself?
No.
It's all, I mean, we're all in the people business, so it's all relational, because now, unfortunately, everything we sell pretty much, you don't even have to leave your house. You can just click, have it delivered. You don't like it, send it back. So it's got to be about the relationships. And why would somebody want to come back over and over and over and buy from Diane or us or whoever? And we can't deal with every customer at every store every day. So we have to try to develop our people to treat them like we would treat them if we were there every day. And that's a huge struggle when you got a store in Buckhead or Hiram or Jerome.
Well,
So,
you know what I like about those stores, when you walk in, the people wait, when you walk in and they're all willing to help you. You don't have to go find somebody, they're always right there in front of you to help you out. And that's the best, that's to me, I went in there today, bought some chairs, boom, I puffed in and out, I knew what I wanted in 15, 20 minutes. But
Yeah.
it was just somebody going to help you walk in the door.
Yeah, some people like that and some don't. So, you know, you have to kind of balance it a little bit. Yeah, when they come in, when they're on the phone and they never take the phone from there, you get a pretty good idea that they don't want nobody talking to them. They just want.
If you ever see me come in the store on my phone, it's
Yeah.
because I probably have my wife, so I don't just start buying things, you know, in the background. What about speak to being a family business? Because I know that sometimes it's beautiful and sometimes it's a mess. How do y'all make that work?
I'm not sure we've done a good job. Probably, I've always said that probably a family business is the biggest threat to a family, and a family is the biggest threat to a family business. And I think that's true. So you just gotta, I don't know, you just, you gotta learn how to apologize pretty quick, you know? You gotta say, I'm sorry a lot of times, you know, because, it gets pretty heated sometimes and,
We got a coach now, we pay.
yeah, we have to pay a coach now to keep us separated.
Yeah, we have a family
Yeah,
coach.
oh, God.
Yeah, we do.
Oh,
We really
So that-
do.
yeah.
That's what happens after 30 years. when the
Yeah,
family
well,
basically
We
hire a
should have had
coach
him,
to-
30 years ago.
Yeah, we need him, we hired him a little way. But two things really that we struggle with now, especially when you get, who would have ever thought that we would ever get to 200 employees, basically? And people say, how many work there? And I always say about half of them. But you know, which is about the truth in my opinion. But, you know, when you get to that size and you got this workers' comp, y'all heard of it, and health insurance are two of the biggest challenges I think that we have in front of us, because you can carry a health insurance plan, but it can be a snake oil plan. It's great, but nobody can afford to use it. You know, if you're going to make the employee can pay 2/3 of the premium and pay big co-pays, it's useless. They can't afford to use it. So we try to carry a plan that's not too burdensome for the employees and the families, but it gets harder and harder every year, because last year we reviewed in August 1st, and our increase was about 45% over the previous year. So this year, for the first time ever, we decided to self-insure. Well, have y'all ever seen the movie Airplane? Where it's a bad day to quit smoking? You know, well, this is a bad year to self-insure. You know, anyway, but that's two big issues going forward. And I think everybody needs some help with this health insurance. I mean, to me, it's a crisis. You know, I mean, like you say, you can have a plan, but if nobody can use it, what good is it? So we try to keep something that people can use, and it's getting to be more and more of a challenge going forward.
Talk some about y'all's growth too, because I know 7 locations, 200 employees, 30 years. You've got a new distribution center out now in our corporate park on 92, which just opened a couple months ago. How have you managed to grow to where you are today? I mean, what is there a secret to it? Are there principles that you've used to get there?
Early on, we pretty much used price to grow the business. You know, we had a few of us, and we could live on a pretty short margin. So for the first 15 years, we probably lived on low margin. And but we finally kept hiring and hiring more and more people. And if you're going to offer these benefits, which I was just alluding to, you know, it ain't free. You know, it ain't free. So all this stuff costs money. And we brought in some kind of guru. I don't know what he was, but anyway, he convinced us that we were selling stuff too cheap, and we were never going to make it on our margin. So he convinced us to raise our margins and go on to hire commission salespeople. So we had always had hourly people, and we hired commission salespeople. They're on straight commission, and that in itself is a challenge. You know, I don't like commission sales, never have. You know, but if that's a way to do it, I'm open. Whatever we got to do, I'm willing to change to do that. But I've never liked it. However, I guess as we look back, we got to say that it has worked out in a positive manner.
When did you make
record that?
Huh?
Did anybody just record?
Don't mention that. Don't mention that outside this room.
Yes.
Because I don't like it. Never
First
have.
I've heard it.
And, you know, where the problem is always, it just bugs me to death. You got two salespeople arguing over the customer. That's my customer. You know, y'all, if you've ever been in that environment, you know how that, and that's really just
Yeah.
no good.
Brian, you want to speak to anything there about growth?
Yeah, I mean, price was it, and You know, I don't know that we really ever spent a lot of time focused on growth. I mean,
We never have.
every day we want to do more than we did the year
Yeah.
before. It's always only looking at every day. I mean, we do have to plan out budgets for the whole year and this and that, but our focus is usually only today. And if we make today and beat last year, then we're going to be zero the next morning. And we're going to try to do the best we can do the next morning, because every day we open the doors, we're zero. You got no sales, you're starting from scratch, but this warehouse is a huge blessing. I mean, we've needed it forever, you know, because all we are really is a logistics company. We get it in, we get it out, and we need to do it at the lowest cost possible.
How big is the warehouse there?
It's first phase is 133. So we wanted it where Heath and them worked it out. We get enough land that if we ever do continue this to grow and need more, we hopefully wouldn't have to move for. That should carry us 20, 25 years if we never need to add that big. So
That's awesome. Tell me, because as you grow and expand, I'm curious to understand some of the decisions that go into when to grow and when to expand. So like when in 2011, when y'all decided to launch a new venture and open a mattress outlet store for the first time in Canton, what went into that decision? Was there a market need? Was it like a gut thing? I mean, how did that work?
Chris McCary was really the only reason we did. I think he had some space and he offered us a deal where you only paid rent on what you sold. So we felt like it wasn't a huge expense, wasn't a huge risk. It was a month to month more or less. So why not? You know, and it took, what was that? It took 5 years at least to begin to start doing fairly good business there. And then how long ago we moved over to 20? Year and a half? Year and a half ago, moved over to 20, and it's
not double.
it's about double the business moving over to 20, but of course you double your expense, you know. So anyway, not a whole lot of planning went into that, but the other mattress stores, pretty much, I'm not real proud of the fact, but I guess I'm the one that instigated opening the other stores when Tempur-Pedic and Tempur-Sealy had a falling out with the mattress firm people. They quit carrying the product, they pulled it. Well, I thought, is an opportunity maybe to grow that business and maybe open some mattress stores. But if you ask me again today if I want to open any, I'm not sure that I say, no, I think we don't need any mattress stores. So, I mean, it's probably 2 or 3 of them are starting to do some pretty good business, but it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
But
Well, Brian, you had mentioned too earlier, we were talking offline about as your company grows, especially 30 years in, the challenge of sustaining that culture, right? The people, the culture, and then you say at a point now where you've got culture and you've had culture, but how do you define what the culture is and what the values are? Speak to that.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue, because if you go to the store over here that we all work at, then that's kind of been the culture. But then when he wanted to open other stores, now how do you make walking in our Hiram store feel like our main store, our Rome store? So the same coach we hired for the family, that he's worked with Chick-fil-A and the Air Force and got a lot of great clients, but we're surprised we could afford him. But anyway, this is part of what he's really helping us this year. We're not going to open those stores. We're just going to work on us, because we got a great culture, but we got to figure out how do you define it and how do you teach it to where
you can repeat it.
Where you can repeat it, because Chick-fil-A, I think we all would agree, is probably one of the best. We go to Chick-fil-A almost anywhere, it's the same great experience. And so that's the hugest challenge for all of us. If you have multiple, how do you hire them and teach them, and and then the family, how does everybody know what their roles are and not cross over and start causing all the chaos? But the culture is huge. How do you do that? And that's what we're learning. And even an hour before we got here, we just started that. We voted to start that lean Toyota production system, basically lean as a company. I mean, that's a never-ending journey. We just decided this morning to embark on. So that's gonna be probably the biggest thing we've ever done.
Part of that is firing sloppy.
Yeah, so,
Part of lean is firing sloppy. Sloppy is probably our highest paid employee, but we don't know who he is, so we can't fire him. We can't fire him. You know, but sloppy is he's still there. He's still on payroll.
Haven't been able to find him yet, right?
No, we haven't found sloppy, but we know he's there.
He's making more money than anybody.
Yeah, he's a bit, but he costs you more than anybody else, for sure.
That's interesting.
No.
So what are some of the values that y'all are based on? What are some of those core tenets?
Well, we tried to, our goal is to, first of all, we want to honor God and take care of our employees and serve the people and just be a good citizen in the community.
well, we look at it, nobody owns nothing. I mean, if you're a Christian that happens to have a business, then we're just stewards over his company. So we're held highly accountable for, the resources, and we started with nothing. I mean, he borrowed $25,000 from the bank to start, so we kind of really approach it with an inverted pyramid. We're at the bottom, and our frontline folks, our whole job is to make it where they can actually execute with all of our customers, at the top front line. But the being a steward, that's really, and it makes it so freeing because we're not worried about the money, or it ain't like we started with nothing.
Yeah.
So if we lose it, we got paid for 30 years, and
We've had a good job.
we had a great job and fun, but it ain't ours anyway.
But y'all aren't closing today at 4:30?
No.
Okay.
He works 6 days a week.
Yeah,
He can't hardly get a day off.
No, I'm off on Sunday.
Yeah, he's off Sunday.
I want to tell y'all something real quick, and please don't think I'm bragging. I don't have anything, but just to give you a little bit of insight, I worked at Sears, y'all heard me, 23 years, right? And in 1 year in this business, I paid more income tax than I made in the 23 years that I worked at Sears. So that'll tell you how little they paid me over the years. It does not have anything to do with how much I made, because we never have cash. It's always in inventory. So we look at each other and say, how in the world do we owe this much taxes? We ain't got no money, never have had. But, they're going to tax you on inventory and whatever. So it makes it look like you made a ton of money. They want a ton of money. But in reality, the way you didn't make hardly nothing. You didn't have nothing left when you got through. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in case some of you are, you wondered about where the money goes. It's just for us, we've just never been able to accumulate a lot of cash. The Uncle Sam, he'd never let us have any money. And so anyway, it's just day to day. We're this there. We're get a paycheck every 2 weeks, hopefully. And that's the way it is. We can't ever retire, we owe too much.
So if you do something for 30 years is a long time to stay committed to one thing, especially nowadays in our culture where people jump ship every couple of years. Do y'all enjoy your work? And then if you do, how do you stay in a place where you continue to enjoy what you do?
Yeah, that's easy. I was just sharing this with our team. We were just meeting. My philosophy is if I can enjoy 70 to 80% of my job, then I'm at the right place in the right job. Then that's sustainable. Because if you're not, you ain't in a sustainable situation. But I'm not done yet. But the way, he'll probably say I take too much time off. But after you've done it 30 years, if we're not out of town, we're working 6 days a week over there. So the way I stay loving it is I have to get away from them, and take enough time off. And that's the way that they want me to be gone, because I'm a lot nicer and enjoy them more. But if you just stay there in the room, I'm not the type that's going to say, I'm going to wait till I retire to enjoy life. I want to enjoy it now, every day. I don't want to be living for no retirement. So, because when you love what you do, it ain't like work. At least 80%.
And the reason I'm still there, other than owing so much, I can't golf and I'm too sorry to fish. So, I I might as well work. But speaking of golf, we did play in the golf sheriff's tournament Monday. And if any of you interested, I think we were 17 under, right?
Yeah.
55 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But we had 2 ringers. It wasn't us. We'd still been out there hacking if we'd have had to hit our ball and finally get it in the hole. We'd still been there, I guess. But anyway, that was it was a fun time. But no, I don't golf, and I'm too sorry to fish on my way to work.
And you don't plan to.
She won't let you stay home if you.
No, I can't. I ain't gonna stay home, and
We travel.
so she ain't going nowhere. I'll just be at work.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
The way it works.
What have y'all learned? What are some things you might have learned about yourself in this journey?
I've learned pretty much that I'm ADD, pretty much. I'm ADD.
We all are.
Yeah, it's you just. I think I've learned to put the people first. You know, put the people first. Our employees and our customers. Put them first.
Yeah, I like the relationship building with our staff, just to be in the store, in the warehouse, just wherever we got them and actually getting to know them. Because that's, to me, that's beside the customers I love, but then the staff working with them and actually getting to know them. Because we don't tell we hate the word owner, so we hate to use it. We hate that word. But they know who you are. And if you spend time and sit down with them and you know, you remember their mom had surgery a month ago, it means a lot to them. So that's the part I get a lot out of.
Well, one more question, and then I'm going to turn it over to everybody here for the last 15 or 20. But what would y'all say to the next generation? Because we meet a lot of entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs that want to launch something or build a product or a business, but maybe they feel like they don't know where to start. Or they feel like they're not equipped. Like, who are they to actually to make this happen? What piece of advice would y'all give?
Gosh, just be willing to work, I think, and believe in what you're doing, and don't do it for the money. You know, don't do it for the money. You just need to enjoy what you're doing. And one thing about business that if you start to have a little success, I think the biggest problem with a lot of people, they take too much out of the business. You know, they take too much out, and I think that's the reason for so many business failures. To me, I think more so than a lot of slowdowns in a lot of cases, people take too much out of business. But anyway, again, we just proud to be here.
Still.
Brian, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that's good.
Well, I want to, let's go to you guys and we'll see what questions y'all have. I'll pull up the app in a minute, but you want to kick us off, Jennifer?
Yes, I would like to hear about your foundation that you started. Why did you start that? And what are your goals for the foundation?
You would ask that question.
You betcha.
I mean, I don't, well, our giving's
I can
kind of,
too.
well, our giving, we've tried to look at a lot of it like a tithe on our business. So that part's unpublished and we don't want anybody to know what we're doing. But then years ago, our financial folks said, well, Fidelity's got this deal where you can go ahead and just set the foundation up and put all the money in there and deduct it, and then you just still can send all your tithing to all the places that are legal 501(c)(3)s, and then everything else just be accumulating to actually do some more publicized, or even, we're not real big on getting credit for giving anything, but we do just want to continue to grow that too. We love, even our employees got a benevolence fund. They put money in every payday. We match it. They've got the account at one of the banks, and they just manage, the little board manages just meeting needs for people, but it's all not, you don't know about it. and sending a bed to somebody or paying a light
Paying a light
bill.
bill, rent.
And over the years, it's been hundreds, 150, 200,000 they've been sewing into things, but it's not, you know, that's just their deal that they do, that we match. But we've done a few things with.
So you're saying that the employees themselves
That's
have a
separate.
board?
They have a little benevolence
and
fund that they do.
They manage.
They have a
that.
benevolence fund.
That's
We've done it for about 15, 18 years, but they've, like I said, if
But that's
somebody.
not part of your foundation?
Not part of it. That's
Okay.
just something that they do. We, like I say, every paycheck, whoever wants to give $5, $10, and then whatever that amount is, then we match it. And then it goes in that account.
That's
So
fabulous.
That's the fun part,
Thank you.
so.
One quick story, there's a guy, if I call his name, some of you may know him, or I don't even know if he's still around Woodstock, but Brian was playing Pee Wee basketball here at this gym. He was done a lot of refereeing here. And over the years, he just had some, you know, he struggled, I seemed like a nice guy, but anyway, about 5 years ago, he kept coming, he'd come by the store and he needed, I know one time was his rent paid, a car paid, or whatever, so we helped him 2 or 3 times. So the next time he came in, I told him, I said, now this is a loan, this is not a gift. We want you're gonna pay this back. We knew when we loaned him money, we wouldn't see him again, and so far, that's probably been 3 years and when it worked, I don't think he's been back. So, as long as we were giving him, you know, he'd come back every month or 2.
Accountability.
No, we finally had to make it a loan and he quit coming. So we've done that a few times.
Yeah.
Tell them it's a loan and then they go on their merry way. So, but yeah, I would hope when I say this and I'm telling the truth, we don't have many people that walk in that door or call that need help, you know, whatever it is. I hope 99% of them were able to do something. Now, I think that's true. I may not know, but I think that's
We
a
only
situation.
help them one time.
We
That's
try to
the
only
rule.
help them once,
One
but
time.
sometimes
Don't let
we.
them keep coming back.
Yeah.
One time.
One
And
time.
employees are exempt. They can't
No,
get any
we don't
money.
have
Their
employees.
families, they nothing. It's our responsibility to help an employee, not the
Yeah.
employee. Because then they quit giving because so and so's
Yeah,
Right.
taking the money. Yeah.
so,
Anyway.
but anyway, it's been good and, like I say, we try to always say yes if we can. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, go ahead. I was just wondering, any future plans for the warehouse? I know y'all expanded back a little bit in the back. Since y'all moved the distribution center over to the new location, are y'all going to build a bigger showroom back there? What's going to go on in the back?
Well, we have expanded into that area. Back in, what was it, October, we bought a huge amount of closeouts, and they came in when?
October.
About the first of the year, the November, and then there's some of them came in December, a lot of closeouts. So we filled up a lot of that space with closeouts, and at some point we'd like to remodel the whole place and start over.
Well, we actually going next Wednesday, Thursday in Tennessee and Kentucky, 10 of us to look at 2 stores that have just gone through big remodel projects. So that's what we're doing next week. Yeah, we want to remodel from the tent. The county is making us get rid of the tent before we can get any more permits. Because it's supposed to be up for 10 days, and that was 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
So the fire marshal said no more permits
Yeah.
until the tent's gone.
The backlog on that permit violation is gonna be
So,
like,
Yeah.
we're just gonna all start fresh, so I guess after Labor Day, we're gonna take the tent down, but we do wanna remodel from the facade, tear all the walls out. It's gonna be a big project, so.
It's not gonna happen this year, but hopefully we
It may
can.
start by the end of the year, hopefully, so.
Possibly.
The
if we-
permits will be full by then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and get enough money, a little
Yeah.
money, because we gotta just, whatever we do, we gotta just do it out of cash flow. You know, so it's just,
But the more you buy, the faster we can.
yeah.
You've been doing your part though, so.
thank you, David, for supporting.
Yeah, we appreciate it, yeah.
Dan?
I mean, I don't think there are too many businesses in and around this area that have seen kind of the historical growth over the last 20 to 30 years of Cherokee County like you guys have. And I think it'd also be pretty accurate to say there probably aren't too many other locally owned stores that get as much foot traffic as you guys get. So excluding your Target, your Walmart, your Costco, maybe the outlet mall, you guys probably get more foot traffic than just about any store in and around Cherokee County that's locally owned. So as you've seen the changeover and the growth of the economy of Cherokee County kind of progress in your history, what do you see that the county needs to do so that folks continue to look to you guys for your furniture needs versus looking on their Amazons, their Wayfairs, and other things that there's now so many other options out there?
I'm not real sure about what the county needs to do. We pretty much try to concentrate on what we need to do, but I mean, if the area
I don't
got,
just mean the county, I mean, what do people in the county need to do to continue to be able to support you guys?
just continue to come in and buy furniture. And by the way, a lot of our growth is fueled by the rooftops. You know, all this construction over the last 20 years or whatever it was.
Town Lake started.
It's been a huge, huge benefit to us. Because where there's new houses, most people move in, they want new furniture, or at least some, and fortunately, we've been at a good place to capitalize on a lot of that. And Keith over here, if he'll keep selling houses and send them to us, maybe it'll continue to grow, Keith.
Doing all my part. We bought many couches and they all had 2 arms. I was
We're gonna buy one of those.
I want one for my men.
Yeah.
I need a 1-arm couch.
I
I've
made
got all
one
of them. They're all in
last
my
week.
basement at the
I
house.
don't want
If you
the
wanna
big
come,
one.
I've got a showroom set up if you want to come.
Let me mention something about the one-arm couch. The first time this guy come down, so we just opened, 6 months earlier? And I was out of town, and Mike McClure, who's up in Spartanburg, he showed up down at the store there with a truck one Saturday, and he had some one-arm sofas, and Brian called me about buying them, and I said, well, whatever, give them a shot. So anyway, that was 30 years ago, and this guy, from time to time, we still buy from him, buy some stuff. He buys a deal every now and then. But you got to watch out when he calls you and say, now, I got this such and such, this dining room suite or this living room suite or bedroom, but I'm going to tell you what, he says, I can only let you have 2. I can't let you have, a truckload. I can only let you have 2. So when he tells you that, you best shy away because you probably didn't want those 2.
Back to your question though, I mean, we still got all the way, like I say, to find a reason why would y'all even want to shop with us. So the warehouse is helping us, do a much better job carrying more inventory and trying to get it to your house faster. We're testing a deal we launched last Wednesday, a free curbside drop-off deal. If you spend like $5.99, and we're doing our slowest delivery days, and there's a 10-piece limit, but to help us compete with online, to where if you come by and you pick out, we can just drop it by your garage or driveway in the box, and it'd be free. Just be a free added value versus, because our full service delivery, we do everything. Open it, prep it, put it together, bring it in, set it all up. Which a lot of us want the full service and there's no trash, but the folks that want more of the online, we're trying to test a few ways to be more competitive. So
Is that one of the ways you're trying to compete?
that's
with
one of the
Amazon's
ways.
Wayfair?
And I mean, the returns on furniture is such a high return because you have buyer's remorse. You don't know, it looks good in the house, and then Ruth gets it delivered and it's too big or it's the wrong color. So nobody's made a profit selling furniture on the internet. I mean, Wayfair lost $200 million first quarter because you can't, with 30% returns, you can't make a profit.
Well, so is that why you think some of them are going to the high-tech side where you can visualize your furniture in your room, putting on goggles? I mean, you guys have something online.
We get so many returns because we give a 5-day. If you don't like it, you can exchange it, and you sit on it, and you measured it, and you did everything. But when it's in your room, you don't like it, and you spend all this money, and why am I stuck with it? And that's when you can sit, because every couch sits different. It's made different. The cushions are different. The quality's different. You just can't see that on on the computer. I mean, we were in Texas the other day with our son and son-in-law, and we're at this market, and I mean, they got the people frying up the steak, you know, making the mashed potatoes, and they got tortillas getting handmade, and huge grocery store. But it's got, there's no way I could have experienced buying if I hadn't been in that store. And it was an experience, because I wouldn't have known I wanted some fresh tortillas or that mashed potato stuff. If I'm just sitting on the computer, I don't know I want it. So that's so we got to always try to make it, why would you come want to experience our stores? And whatever business y'all are in, why they want to do business with you.
Right.
It's got to be about the experience. It can't be all about price.
We're almost out of time. Any other questions from you guys?
Y'all mentioned you're moving to the Toyota Inspired Lean process, and then that you mentioned there was discussion about that. Who's involved in those discussions? What was that discussion like to come to that decision?
I was reading the book Lean First, and there's probably about 12 of their upper management staff that was involved in the first 4 or 5 meetings.
We got our coach we hired for the family. He introduced me to a lean coach that's here in Kennesaw, whatever. He's a Chick-fil-A operator, or was. So now that's what he does, is coaches a lot of Chick-fil-A's on the lean. So he took me through this 2-second lean book over about a month. And so then once I got through, we picked 12 for our folks to go through the book. It's a great book, 2-Second Lean. I mean, they give you tons of videos. I mean, it's the company's out in Washington. It's called Fast Cap, but really great resource for the lean. But it's a 2-second lean is the name of the book. But so we just got finished today, and we kicked the coaches out of the room, and we spent about 30-40 minutes arguing through it. Because we were going to decide at the end of the day, but we'd rather have a consensus that most people want to hire, because it's a huge journey to start. And so that was, so now we out of that 12, they picked 6, and we let them start the, setting up the dates and getting started, because it's going to be, like I say, it's the biggest thing we've ever started, I think, which is, but there's so much waste in everything we do, and our waste, y'all may not want to pay for our waste no more. I mean, because all our waste ends up in this experience you get and the price you pay. So we've got to continually cut out waste and improve.
One thing the guy did, it got my attention right off, and I'm assuming it is right. Now, hadn't researched it, but the lean guy said if Chick-fil-A gives everybody 2 extra napkins, it costs them $4 million a year. Who would ever thought? Would you ever thought it? I mean, that's a lot of money for 2 extra napkins.
I think I'm costing Chick-fil-A $100 million. Yeah, so I just go for the staff.
That's in the to-go window.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Final question, Nathan?
Okay. Do you expect that you'll modify it in any way for your culture?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would expect to, yeah. Because we're not manufacturing, and most of the examples, I think, were based on manufacturing.
Well, I want to honor what I said from earlier. So the one final question from the app. How did and I see Mark's question, I appreciate that. How did the company weather the most recent recession in the late 2000s? How did y'all handle that? How do you plan for the next one? That's a big question.
Lean is our plan going forward. The last one, we closed the store in Canton, which the building there on Marietta Road, and we eventually sold to somebody, but Furniture Gill, I think, is in there now. So we had a retail store there for several years, 3 or 4 different names, but it was a great tax write-off most of the time. I don't know if it ever made any money, but anyway, we closed that store, and we let a few people go, not many, maybe.
We lost 50 total.
Yeah, but some of them left, I don't know, but we did for the first time, or the only time ever, we had some cutbacks. But I think our volume, I think the next year or whatever dropped about 10 million. So we had to do some things to continue to operate. But it's only seemed like only a couple of 3 years and things started to rebound a little, and every year it started coming back and picking up momentum. So going forward, this lean thing, if we can really commit to that and really do it, should have a huge impact.
Did y'all give it up for Brian and JR?
And again, if you pay for a ticket, ask for your money back.
Actually, we're gonna transfer that into one of our chairs.
So at least if you didn't pay nothing, you got what you paid for.
Yeah.
Well, y'all hang with me for a second, because I want to share two things. Let me get my computer downstairs.
Good.
Thank y'all for listening.
Thanks for sharing.
Two real quick things. First, I don't know if JR or Brian have time, but we have our Cherokee by Choice outline cut out here. It's really fun to get pictures with. So if you want a picture with Brian and JR and Judy and the team, hopefully they'll stick around for a few minutes. Please take advantage of that. It's really fun to do that. And hashtag us if you don't mind. And then, I know, right? Did that throw you off?
Yes,
Yeah, that's great.
And then I want to announce real quick our next speaker in June, a fellow by the name of John Blend.
Oh, yeah.
So
Good.
he's been in the community for a while. He is the general partner and CEO of Goshen Capital, also the founder of Goshen Valley up there in Canton. His son Zach runs that, but he's a fascinating guy, y'all. He's been in the business for 30 years, working in technology companies, starting companies, selling companies. He's been a part of a couple of VC funds, starting and closing them, and they've been wildly successful. But he's passionate about community, and he obviously has a passion for foster kids and kids in need. And so we've asked him to come kind of share his story, and love to give you guys access to that. I had coffee with him about 2 weeks ago, and he said he's never really had somebody sit down and ask him to tell a story, which I think at somebody in his 80s, that's really a tragedy. And so I don't know if this is the first time he shared it in public, but regardless, I would just encourage you guys to, if you're interested or you know somebody, tell them to reach out. We'll send up a follow-up email, so you want to make sure your email's on the list, and we'll send you links on how to get the tickets. So John Blend, and that is June 12th, same time. So thank y'all again. We really appreciate it. And y'all feel free to grab some shots and pictures.